Hello. We're so sorry that you can't come to the church and join us for the Christmas experience this year, but we thought if you can't come to us, we'll come to you. And so we hope you enjoy this video version of the Christmas experience. Christmas is all about a very special story. A story about a very, very special baby who was born a long, long time ago. For those of you who like books, the story is told in this book, and this book is called the Bible. It's a story that's been told for 2,000 years. That's an awfully long time, and so you can understand it's a very, very special story. It's all about the first Christmas. Do you know there was a time when there wasn't any Christmas? There were no Christmas trees, there were no Christmas dinners, there were no parties, no Christmas decorations, and worst of all, no Christmas presents. Can you imagine that? Well, the first Christmas wasn't so much about getting presents, and I'm sure you're really excited about the things you might be getting for Christmas. It wasn't so much about getting presents, it was more about giving. And so we're going to meet some of the really special people who were part of that story 2,000 years ago, and they're going to tell you the story in their own way. So let's go to Bethlehem. Welcome to Bethlehem. This is the place where the really special baby was born. It's a real place, and perhaps you might like to look it up on a map later on. The special baby was called Jesus, and of course this is his story. In a moment we're going to meet 4 people who were there at that time, and we're going to hear them tell the story as it was for them.
Welcome to my home, children. Gather round, come closer. Someone to introduce you to. This is my baby. My name's Mary, and I'm going to tell you my story. One day, I was just doing the usual jobs around the house, cooking, baking and cleaning, when suddenly I was aware of a person with me in the room. This person wasn't like anyone I'd ever seen before, and I was a bit frightened, to tell you the truth. What was it all about? But then the person smiled at me. He told me that God was pleased with me, I don't know how, and that God had chosen me to have a very special baby boy. The angel also told me that I should call the baby Jesus, and that he was going to grow up to be a great man and to teach a great many people. He would be someone that others would want to follow and talk about for thousands of years. Somehow, I knew that what the angel was telling me was going to come true. And although I was scared, I was also very happy that I was going to be Jesus's mum. At that time, I was engaged to a man, a wonderful man, called Joseph, and he was a bit puzzled by all of this, as you might expect. But he is a kind man, and we got married anyway, and he has taken great care of me and of us. When it was almost time for the baby to be born, we heard that the Romans wanted us all to be counted, and we had to travel all the way to Bethlehem, where Joseph was from, to be counted in this census. I wanted to stay at home with my family to have my baby, as you'd expect. But when the Romans tell you you have to do something, you have to do it. had to go all the way to Bethlehem to be counted, and it's such a long journey. I couldn't walk very fast when I was pregnant, so the journey took a very long time. When we got there, it was so full of other people because of this census, people who came to be counted. We travelled around all the inns in the town, but they were all full. Just as it was getting dark, we finally found an inn where we were told that although they didn't have any nice bedrooms, we could sleep in the stable around the back with the animals. We were so tired that we said thank you very much, and we were quite happy about it. It was warm and dry anyway, and that night the baby was born. We didn't have a cot or a crib like you would now, but we had a place where the animals eat, and it was full of dry, warm hay. It was called a manger, and so that's where we put Jesus to have his very first sleep. I love my baby Jesus very, very much. And if you look at the heart on your worksheet, it will tell you just how much I love him. Thank you for joining me and listening to my story.
And so you've been to visit Mary, and you've heard how much she loved her baby. The heart will remind us of how much she loved her baby. How do you think Mary felt when she saw the angel? How do you think she felt when there was no room at the inn? Let's go and see who we can meet next.
Oh, hello. Come on in. Welcome to my inn in Bethlehem. Come on in, there's plenty of room. I was going to tell you the story about the time we didn't have any room at all. Well, it happened when the Romans, they're the people who rule over us, they decided they wanted to know how many people there were living in the country. So every man had to return to the town or the city where he was born to register, and he had to take his family as well. Well, lots and lots of people came to Bethlehem, so many that all the inns were absolutely full. Ours inn was so full, my husband and I, well, we gave up our beds so that some guests could have them, and we were sleeping on the floor. I was locking up. It was quite late at night, and there was a knock on the door, and I opened it, and there was a couple standing there. They looked very tired, and the man said, "Have you got any room?" "Oh, no," I said. "We're absolutely full. We couldn't squeeze another 2 people in." And then I looked at the lady. I could see she was pregnant. Oh, and she looked exhausted. And I had a thought. Well, my husband had spent the afternoon clearing out the stables at the back, and he'd put new straw in, and it's warm in there and it's sheltered. And so I said to them, "If you don't mind sharing with the animals, you could stay in the stable at the back." Well, they looked at each other and nodded and said, "Oh, yes, please." So I took my lantern and I showed them round to the stable at the back. I got them a bit of food and gave them some blankets, and they made themselves quite comfortable, settled down for the night. Not that I had a very good night. Well, I told you I was sleeping on the floor. Wasn't very comfy. But you know, there were strange lights in the sky that night. And I heard the stable door banging quite a few times. And I think, although my husband says I was probably dreaming, that I could hear singing. Well, the next morning I got up and I went to see how this couple were. And I told you she was pregnant. You know, that means she was having a baby. Well, when I went into the stable, she'd had the baby. And there, lying in the stable, was this bonny little baby. Oh, he's beautiful, I said. Have you got a name for him? We're going to call him Jesus, she said. Oh, that's a lovely name. They were such a nice couple. They stayed for a few days and then they went on their way. I often wonder what became of them. And what happened to that beautiful little baby called Jesus? Well, thank you for listening to my story. Better get back to the cleaning.
And now you've met the innkeeper. You've learnt that Jesus' first bed was a bed of straw or hay. And here's a bundle of hay or straw to remind us of that. How do you think the innkeeper felt when she knew her inn was full and here were two very tired people with a baby about to be born? And what do you think she felt the next morning when she saw the baby? Let's carry on with our journey now and see who we find next.
Welcome, everybody, to the fields around Bethlehem. We're the shepherds. And at night it can get very cold out in these hills. We have to huddle together and crouch around the fire just to keep warm.
Sometimes we feel like it's only us in the whole world who have to stay up. We have to stay up to protect our sheep from wild animals.
Get back, you wild animals! Get back! Oh, they're only children. Anyway, we sometimes think that nobody cares about us. No one's interested. No one seems to like us, do they?
They think we're rough and smelly. Well, there aren't any bathrooms here in the fields.
Yeah, but one night, just when we thought it was going to be a long, boring night again, something exciting happened.
A bit of excitement. We got a lot more excited than that.
I know, I'm just understating it, innit? Okay, but don't get ahead of the story. But do you want to hear the story, children? Do you? I'm sure you do. You better get telling them.
All right, it went like this. It was just another cold, boring night. The sheep were safe and we were getting a bit drowsy by the fire. Then...
Suddenly, instead of it being dark, it was all bright. And as we were looking around, wondering what was going on, an angel appeared.
Well,
in the sky.
Well, that woke us up all right.
Woke us up? We were blooming terrified.
Yes, proper terrified.
Anyway, just as we were getting used to this, if you can ever get used to seeing an angel, he spoke to us. You know what he said? He says, there's a baby being born down in the city of Bethlehem.
Yes, but not just any old baby, a special baby.
Yeah. And just as he'd said this, suddenly, there wasn't just one angel, there was a whole choir of them. They started singing. Beautiful it was. What did they sing again?
They started singing glory to God.
Glory to God in the highest and peace to his people on earth. Something like that. Then I couldn't really take it all in. I was so blooming afraid and shocked. Anyway, just as I was singing this and we were gawping, wondering what was going on, suddenly, it all went black again. Them angels had gone as quick as they came. We wondered what had gone on, really, didn't we?
Yeah, so I said, why don't we go down to Bethlehem and see if it was true?
So I agreed and we set off, but when we were going along, we suddenly thought, hold on a minute. How are we going to find this one baby in Bethlehem? Now, at normal times, that might have been okay, but there was loads of people in Bethlehem on this occasion.
Because of those horrible Romans. They told everyone to come down to the city to be counted.
Yeah, blooming Romans. Anyway, it was strange, because it seemed we'd hardly reached Bethlehem when we found the baby. Sure enough, there he was, in a manger where the animals eat, in a stable. It was strange, wasn't it, really?
Yeah, it was a lovely little baby, though. And we were telling his mum and dad, Mary and Joseph, about the angels.
Yeah, we thought they'd be surprised at this. I mean, because we'd never seen angels before. We thought they hadn't. They wondered what was going on. So we told them all about it. You know what they did? They just sat there and smiled as if it was nothing strange to them.
So because of those angels, we were the first people to go see the special baby.
We, not you, not that. We, us, we're special, we are. Anyway, we decided, having said our pleasantries, said congratulations to the parents, seen the baby, we'd better go. But we went straight out into Bethlehem, and we didn't go straight back to those sheep, We went out on the town, telling everybody, it didn't matter if we were smelly or not. We suddenly found ourselves to be some of the most popular people in Bethlehem. Surprise, something new for us. We were telling them all about this baby and the things we'd been told and seen. People were really excited about it.
Yeah, they were amazed about it, and we were suddenly so popular, so we told everyone about the special baby.
Now we're telling you. But in the end, we had to go back to the sheep, didn't we? And they were there, safe and sound. But we'll never forget the night when the angel told us all about the baby.
Now you've met those smelly shepherds up on the hills, looking after their sheep. And here's a little sheep to remind you of the shepherds. I wonder what they thought when they saw the angels. I wonder why they decided to go all the way to Bethlehem just to see a baby. What do you think? So let's go and see who else we can find.
Welcome to my palace. Now I'm one that likes to look at the stars. And if you've never tried it, you should. It is wonderful. One day, with some friends, I was looking at the stars and was amazed to see a very bright star that we hadn't seen before. One of my friends said it's because a new king had been born. So having talked about it, we decided we should go and find out whether this was true. Now when a baby is born, people give gifts. Now we wanted to go prepared, and as we are very rich people, we wanted to take some expensive gifts fit for a king. So I would take some gold, and one of my friends some frankincense, and another some myrrh. And when everything was ready, off we set to follow the star. Now we thought a king would be born in a palace, so we decided to visit King Herod. But he didn't know anything about a baby or a king, and in fact he seemed quite cross with us for disturbing him. So off we set once again to follow this star. And you know what? We found him in a very ordinary place. And there was the baby with his mother Mary and Joseph and some of their friends. And a very handsome child he was, but he didn't look like a king or a prince. Anyway, we presented our gifts of the gold, frankincense and myrrh, and Mary was very grateful and thanked us very much. Now we were a long way from home, and although we didn't find the baby Jesus in the palace, we were so glad that we followed the star and made this journey. Now, at this time of year, when you look at the stars, I would like you to remember how we followed the star to find a baby. Thank you, children.
How did the wise man feel when he saw the special star? I wonder what he and his friends expected to find, and where did they expect to find the baby? What did they think when they found the baby in a stable? So now you've heard the story about the birth of Jesus and how that story was different for the different people who were there. These stories are written in that book I showed you, the Bible, and the stories are 2,000 years old. They're very, very special stories, and we keep on telling them today because they're about the birth of Jesus and tell us about how God gave us the gift of Jesus. You met Mary, and you know how much Mary loved her baby. And you remember that you saw the heart to remind you that Mary loved her baby very, very much. You went to visit the innkeeper, and you saw how Jesus' first bed was a bed of straw. And so the bundle of straw reminds you of where Jesus' first sleep took place. Not on a nice bed, but on a whole manger full of straw or hay. You then met the shepherds. And the shepherds, of course, those dirty, smelly old shepherds, they were up on the hills looking after their sheep. And so you have a picture of a little sheep to help you remember that the shepherds were astonished, but they went down to visit the baby Jesus. And then you met the wise man who with his friends followed a star to go and see Jesus. And the star reminds us of the wise men and that long, long journey they took to be near Jesus. The story of Jesus' birth is a very, very special story. And without this story, we wouldn't have Christmas. That's how special the story is. Thank you so much for being with us, and we hope perhaps next year that you'll be able to come to the church and really get the experience. Goodbye.
Been a long time, little dog.